Chapter 29. Many of the inmates who attend my class don't know their fathers, so they don't have any good models of what it means to be a man. When do you become a man? After your first beer? Your first cigarette? The first time you have sex? We don't know, I tell them. There is no manual. Except, of course, there is. The Bible was written thousands of years ago, but it is still the best guide for what it means to be a man. I take the class through the scriptures and we talk about these things. We talk about fathers and sons. We talk about work and respect. We talk about how to live as men in a hard world. I don't start with all the answers, but we figure it out together, with it all centering on Jesus. Those men show up without a lot of hope. Most of them have done bad things to be there. Many of them have months, even years of prison ahead of them. It's a tough road, but I know they can be the men God created them to be. It's a reason I show up every week. I believe they can change. I know it's possible because I have been exactly where those men are. I sat in my own prison cell thinking I was tough and smart, thinking I didn't need anybody. I figured only the weak and foolish would turn to Jesus. I was walking a dark path, and it didn't end. Even when they released me from prison. I simply brought the darkness with me. My relationship with my father helped, but I was still trapped in that old way of thinking. I continued to follow a road which led only towards death. 6 months after I was saved, I was baptized. Pastor Anthony plunged me under the water. When I came up, he looked straight at me. "Dennis, that old man is dead." He shook my hand, gave me a hug, and said it again. "That man is dead." Jesus changed me. I had been dead, but now I am alive. I truly believe the men who come to my class can have a brand new life just like mine. God has been good to me. Since quitting my job for one that raises a fraction of the income, somehow Patty and I are able to tithe more, pay our bills, and still have some left over to do fun things as a family. I've been blessed, but it's not the material things that matter. When I say they can have a life like mine, I'm talking about life, meaning the joy and peace that come from knowing Christ. I have joy and peace and a loving family and some material possessions. Because that old man is dead, Jesus gave me a new life. The men who come to my class can have one too. It won't be easy. I know this as well as anyone. These men need to draw the line in the sand. They need to stand up to the darkness inside and around them and say, "Enough." It is a part of what it means to be a man. It is a part of giving our lives to Christ. Before King David was the greatest king of Israel, he was the smallest of his brothers. Still, when the Philistine Goliath threatened the Israelite army, David trusted God and went out to fight the giant. Goliath was huge, shoulders like a beast, legs like tree trunks. He had a lot of body to aim at, but David aimed high. He went after the smallest target, the giant's head. David was a good shot, but there was no way he would make it on his own. Only with God's help did he kill the enemy. 1 Samuel 17. The acronym for all in ministries is AIM. I often tell the men I work with, aim high. Don't listen to what the world tells you. Listen to God. These men I visit have been told over and over again they'll never amount to anything. They'll always be a troublemaker. They'll always be a drug addict or a drunk. Everyone around David told him he was a fool. He'd never make it off the battlefield. He'd never beat the giant. David ignored those voices. He listened to God and aimed high. Same as I tell the men, they need to stop listening to those voices. They need to aim high. Growing up, I imagined Jesus to be passive. I pictured him being barely there, someone who'd fade into the background if you weren't looking right at him. But that's not Jesus. Jesus called the religious leaders a brood of vipers, Matthew 12:34. He knocked over tables in the temple, Matthew 21:12-17. He said 3 words, "I am he," and it knocked a battalion of soldiers to the ground, John 18:6. I tell the men this is what they need to do. Aim high, aim to be like Jesus, stand strong, assert yourself, and say enough. The world of addiction is a tough world to live in and a tougher world to leave. Most of the men I work with haven't made it out. At times it can weigh on me. When a young man I've been working with for months stops calling and falls off my radar, I know what happened. It feels like the darkness has won, and it's easy for me to get down about it. But I trust in the light. I believe we only see a small piece of the whole picture. So to the men who have relapsed, to the families who love them, and to any of you who are struggling in the darkness, right now, I have a final word. There is always hope. My door is always open. I won't judge. I won't condemn. When you're ready, let me know. There is always hope. Even if I never hear from a person again, I believe the Holy Spirit is working in their life. I may not get to see it, but someday something is going to stick with them and it will click. There is always hope. The dark world of drug addiction has a powerful hold, but you can break free. I have been with men as they see the light of Jesus and have been blessed to walk with them through those first few moments of joy. It can happen for you or the person you love. And finally, there is always hope. In the end, this is God's work, and God shines the light into the darkness, and the darkness will never overcome it.